Oh, HOOKBANG. I'm secure in my manhood, but the word HOOKBANG makes me uncomfortable. Hey, what's up, YouTube? You already know I'm AllCity with AllCityLiveTV.com, and thank you for tuning in. Today, I wanted to get into the big news, the huge news that's spreading throughout the 2K community like wildfire. 2K and Visual Concepts has acquired HOOKBANG Game Division, HOOKBANG LLC. Now, first thing to note is that HOOKBANG has already worked on the current versions of 2K that you currently have in front of you, NBA 2K21 on current gen and NBA 2K21 on next gen. I know that this acquisition will allow them to be further involved in game development and live services support. So please make note of that as we go through the article on businesswire.com that they have already helped in the development of the games that you currently have in front of you. And I know that a large portion of the community is not necessarily pleased or completely satisfied with the product that they have in front of them. One of the things that I want to talk about for a second is that I've noticed that larger AAA gaming companies no longer look at their consumers as customers, and they don't give that customer service type of oriented approach toward their product, as opposed to smaller development gaming companies that give a good customer service approach to their product and want to make sure that the consumer has the most optimal experience with their product, and it's an ongoing process. This making reference to the lack of communication that we receive from 2K about the product that's in front of us. Even though it's riddled with flaws and glitches and gameplay malfunctions, we still don't get a high level of communication. You would think that there'll be a more closer, intimate relationship, but due to your guys' response, the people who are watching, the people who are kind of fed up with 2K, because of your response, limiting your amount of microtransactions, limiting your amount of gameplay, it looks like 2K is trying to make some adjustments. I don't necessarily know yet, and I don't believe fully whether it is an actual good move or this a marketing ploy. Is this damage control? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section your thoughts before we get into this article on businesswire.com, which I'll pull up on the screen right now, and let's get into it. It says here, 2K today announced the company has acquired HOOKBANG LLC, an Austin-based video game division that will become a part of Visual Concepts, the distinguished wholly owned studio and developer of iconic NBA 2K video game franchise. And in this portion of the article, it gets a little bit deeper into what HOOKBANG LLC is actually about. It says, founded in 2012 as a solution-based collective of engineers, artists, and designers that provide full-service software design and development for brands, agencies, and technology companies. HOOKBANG LLC recently partnered with Visual Concepts to provide art, design, and engineering support for NBA 2K21, the standard bearer for sports simulation games. As Visual Concepts Austin, the team will expand its efforts on the NBA 2K franchise, including platform development and live services support. So what I gathered from this little paragraph right here is, one, that 2K never fails to promote itself. So this is where it shows me that politics is in full effect here, as it's introducing everything, and it says NBA 2K, it says here the standard bearer for a sports simulation video game. It makes it seem as if the consumer is receiving this super fine product that we're completely satisfied with. If I was an outsider looking in and I didn't play 2K at all, I would read this as this is the most optimal game out there. And it probably is the best basketball game out there, but they are not the standard bearer for sports simulation video games. You do got EA out there working on different sports titles. So to offer, and they have sports simulations out there as well, but they make it as if they are the standard, and they are not the standard. In fact, they are falling well below, in my opinion, they are falling well below what is considered standard. Even though they're announcing the acquisition of HOOKBANG, they still don't fail to promote themselves. I will be leaving the link to this article in the description below if you guys would like to check it out, but I would love to read off this statement. If you guys could bear with me for just a second or read off this portion of this paragraph here, because there's a cautionary note regarding forward-looking statements to help you guys better understand how much politics is involved in this acquisition and how much politics is involved in even the announcement. So it says here, the statements contained herein, which are not historical facts, are considered forward-looking statements under federal security laws and may be identified by words such as anticipates, believes, estimates, expects, intends, plans, potential, predicts, projects, seeks, should, will, or words of similar meaning, and include but are not limited to statements regarding the outlook for the company's future business and financial performance. Such forward-looking statements are based on the current beliefs of our management as well as assumptions made by and information currently available to them, which are subject to inherent uncertainties, risks, and changes in circumstances that are difficult to predict. So what does this all mean? To me, this actually means that 2K can actually market and misguide you as long as they use these forward-looking statements and that they're safe under federal security laws. As long as they use these forward-looking statements like anticipates, or they believe, or they expect the game to be absolutely amazing, or they plan on, because of this acquisition of hundreds of developers, they plan on really delivering for NBA 2K22, but the actual outcome is inherently uncertain and risk and changes in circumstances that are difficult to predict. And they understand this. As you guys know, you might be thinking like, man, he's just being a little too hard and he's nitpicking, but you gotta nitpick when this has been our experience with NBA 2K. They tell us we're gonna receive one thing, we actually receive quite a different product. And then when we receive that product after we purchase it, let's take in our experience for 1 second before we continue on. And there is something else that I want to make note of in here as well. But before we continue on, let's take note of our experience. We got these courtside reports marketing the game. They used it as courtside reports, but they pushed it as a marketing ploy to say what we were going to receive for NBA 2K21 on next gen, a game that was brand new, innovative, and built from the ground up. Somewhat saying to us that what we received over the past few years prior to the release of next gen, that we were going to receive something very different, something that was much better than the previous year's products. And in fact, it actually turned out to be way worse, even though the development team had a much larger capacity to work with in next gen consoles. So they had all the firepower, but they didn't make nothing happen. They were just letting off firecrackers. So that is what I've noticed with our experience. And they bundled NBA 2K21 for current gen and bundled it with NBA 2K21 for next gen. So for those consumers that actually purchased a next gen console, they couldn't wait to get on the next gen game for NBA 2K. But in fact, when they got on, they noticed that it wasn't nearly what we anticipated or expected. In fact, it was well below a mediocre experience, at least in my experience. That was fact for me. That's my opinion playing NBA 2K21 on next gen. So much so that I had to delete the game, and I've never deleted an NBA 2K game ever since its inception. I've been playing since the very first game on Dreamcast, and I have never ever deleted a 2K during the annual release, like the current game that we were supposed to play. I've always been a grinder. I'm a veteran of the game. I've been playing for years, but I've never deleted one, and I felt like I was forced to delete it because the disappointment was at an all-time high. At least that was my experience. But there is something else that I want to mention here, but I did want to take note of. They're not exactly sure how they're going to successfully integrate HOOKBANG's operations and employees. Again, my core belief on this article being released, my core belief on this acquisition has more so to do with politics and further growing the player base, because the player base, in my opinion, gives 2K a lot of leverage within the gaming industry. And I'm so proud of you guys, the 2K community, for actually taking a stand and forcing 2K's hand in hiring a whole new development team. I will do my best, trust and believe, I will do my best to remain optimistic. My thoughts for the next release of NBA 2K22 is not as nearly optimistic as it is about the future of 2K, along with this acquisition of HOOKBANG game division. I do think that there is potential for 2K to grow in the future, but I do not believe that NBA 2K22 is going to be the answer that the community is looking for after receiving NBA 2K21 on current gen and NBA 2K21 on next gen. I think we may begin to see some development changes for NBA 2K23. I hope you guys found this video helpful and or informative, and if you did, please consider dropping a like on the video. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, as we intend to have a ton of next gen content coming your way. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Easy, y'all.